Big Boar Barbecue presents Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Diker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Riker. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning.
Hi, good race fans. Radio man Dan Diker, Paul the Penguin Riker, Billy Doc Niles. We are Seven Rivers Racing here on KQEG TV. Finally have racing under our belts, week number one, not only at the Tomah Sparta Speedway, where their opener, I saw the largest amount of fans and the largest amount of cars for a season opener, and I've been at Tomah on and off since 2007.
Yep, it was a very great crowd, very great, almost as full as Hobby Fest.
You know,
Wow.
I talked to the Mayfest people Saturday at La Crosse, and they said they could not believe how full those pits were on Friday night. So they were really impressed with the show too. So
they rolled in about 75 strong, I kid you not, and they almost rolled into the wrong side of the racetrack because there was no seating where they wanted to go, so they had to bury themselves over in turn one, and that was just phenomenal. Saturday we roll around, and some of the best racing at the La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, which we're going to break down to you video-wise here as we normally do on the program. Great crowd, great food, great atmosphere, and it was great to see a lot of people wanting racing to get back. And man, I tell you what, every division had its own little story on this Saturday. Going to be racing on this Saturday. Of course, if this is Saturday night and you're watching this before Nights of Thunder, well, we had a great day today.
Yeah.
And if it's tomorrow, which could be Sunday, boy, yesterday's races were great because you're watching this on Sunday night.
and you're going to see the race replay immediately after we're done here.
We're getting good at doing all that since we taped this early. Let's start things off. Video highlights from the Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway. The 25-lap NASCAR late model feature had Brent Kirshner take the top spot on lap number 5, and you thought he was going to be one not to reckon with. Well, as the race progressed, here comes a couple of wrecks and some restarts. Matt Henderson, Carter Christensen, then on
Don
one of the
Thunder
restarts.
Turner,
Don Thunder Turner. Then we have Ty Reedy smash the front straight wall up in turn 1. We restart that one, and then it's Mike Carlson following in his footsteps, tapping that same part of the wall after the race director had to come out of the tower and scold Brent Kirshner for that second restart. He and Nick Murgic finally got it restarted, and as you see right here, it was Nick Murgic saying, "I was thankful for those yellows because, well, he said he didn't have much for Kirshner."
You and I talked about this with, before that string of yellow flags on with 5 to go, that there was no way they could have probably caught third, maybe, but there was no they were going to get the top 2 in. You know, the yellows came out at just the right time, and Murgic and Gady had wide open outside groove. Boom, out to the outside they go. They finished first and third.
Post-race DQs went to Brad Powell and Brent Kirshner. Sportsman, wow, I love first-timers, and this one shocked me because I didn't think he was a first-timer.
You take a look at that car that's leading right now. That's Justin Berg and his Joe Shear painted up Joe Shear tribute car. In the heat race, he was chasing Sam Niles. In the feature, it's the opposite. Berg gets loose coming off 4 more than once. Niles tries the outside, and he even admitted after the race his car was not going to hang on the outside. And for the first time ever in the sportsman class, Justin Berg is a feature winner. Congratulations, Fur.
Congratulations goes out to Justin Berg. Hobby Stocks slamming and banging as normal, Paul.
Yes, we didn't get to see Brendan Gallows' rep until race day, and it looks pretty
Paint
sharp.
job.
Yes, paint job. That's
Paint
right.
job.
Okay. Yes.
Because we got dogged on Facebook this week because obviously we don't know the difference between a paint job
and a wrap.
or a wrap job.
Yep.
So we're going to say whatever we want to because they're all pretty.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And actually, Brendan Gallagher and Jason Bolster turned the same fast lap time to tie for the new track record.
Which I understand maybe the first one that's ever happened at the La Crosse Speedway, that there's a tie for a track record happening on the same night.
Yep. And Brandon won his heat race and then made his way through the field and got around, used lap traffic to his advantage to get around Nick Oxborough with 3 laps to go and started his title defense off right with the win in the first feature.
Talking about something else that may be a track record at La Crosse, the top 20 NASCAR late models that qualified in all under 20 seconds. Don't think that's ever happened. Nope. And something else happened with the Hornet division. Let's show you the last couple of these laps here. Cheyenne Stanfield gets into it with Chris Berg's former car, the number 6. in the Hornets. She ends up plowing her way through the infield. She does get a second-place finish, but Mark Lethe, who was steady all the way through in that second place, ends up stealing the win, as you're going to see right here. Also, kind of interesting, Billy Niles is standing in the infield, and I thought when the 6 and Cheyenne Stanfield got tangled up that she was coming straight for you. Look at this little video that Cheyenne put together. Like a jet engine, she just kept her foot to the ground, plowed all the way through the infield, back on the track, and finished second. Another interesting fact out of this one, I can't even not remember an opening night of having all these great stats come out. The top 6 Hornet drivers all beat last year's track record.
And she beat
Cheyenne Stanfield beat hers from last year.
She beats her own track record, and going back to that infield excursion there, I was already walking to victory lane formulating questions to ask her. And all of a sudden, you're screaming at me in my headset, "Look out!" You know, and I'm like,
They don't get tangled up.
I better turn around and take a look at what's going on behind me here.
All right, Street Stocks had a good one here. A lot of cars.
This was an entertaining feature. Brian Larson looked like he was cruising, and then a yellow flag bunches them all up with 5 laps to go. Larson will swing it wide through a corner. Along comes Alex Leaps, along with a whole horde of other cars. Great finish of this one. First, like Paul liked to say, first ever feature winner alert. Alex Leaps gets his first ever feature win on the quarter mile.
First ever feature win, and he's going for best appearing car. And yes, you did get a smiley on the side of that pretty looking thing. You want to keep it like that all year.
Oh, they all had smileys. God, you got to go back and watch that feature. You got to watch it. It was incredible.
Second over the line was more of a blowout than it was even close.
Yeah, it was. Of course, this is always a race where you got to position, maneuver to try to not be the first person across the line. And Rob Stanfield waited for everyone else to move and make their move a little early, and he ended up being the second across the line and claimed the victory.
You know, Dan and I, we talked about strategy. They're going to stop in front of the line. Strategy, and along comes Brian Larson, blows all the strategy out of the water.
He's on the outside, too, where there's nobody in front of him whatsoever. So good points battles, a good way to start the season, too. A steady field of cars all the way through. And again, we're going to see them starting at 2 o'clock on Sunday again. When we come back, a phenomenal opener for the Tomah Sparta Speedway. We're going to let you know another first-time winner alert in his first ever division. That's coming up next on 7 Rivers Racing.
Would you like a job making people happy? Well, I believe we can help you out. Big Boar Barbecue and Catering has openings for both full and part-time work. Days, nights, or weekends. Need to be free on weekends or need to be done by the time the kids get out of school? We can work with that. We need hard-working, energetic people who love to make people happy because our food makes everybody happy. Join the team at Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem. Now that's a mouthful.
Big Boar Barbecue.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, race fans. 7 Rivers Racing KQEG TV, brought to you by...
It is brought to us by Big Boar Barbecue, our title sponsor. Great food, voted once again #1 in La Crosse County. Check them out. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. If you haven't noticed this weekend, it's hot. You better get that air conditioner checked out before it breaks down, before you have problems down the line. Get a tune-up on that air conditioner. Fansarena.com. Great job. Yep, there we go right here. Check that bad boy out. And Epic Media, Vinyl, and Bag 40 Wraps. Great sign they did for us right here. Thank you all for being advertising partners in the 2021 season.
Tomah Sparta Speedway, fantastic opener last weekend. Let's start things off with the modifieds. And Bill Schott charging past the Iceman Dan Howard to take the lead at the start of this one. And wait a minute, Bill Schott in a modified?
What's going on here?
Wow, he bought that about a month ago. He was kind of keeping it under wraps. had never did this before. Well, I'll tell you what, he was watching the likes of Nick Quiddell and Darren Salo battle behind him while they're doing that, and they touched a couple times. He just increases the lead. He gets his first ever win in a modified. Not a bad way to follow up championship in the Sportsman last year.
Remember, he won the first Sportsman Feature of the Year, ended up claiming Rookie of the Year and championship. Could that happen again?
He's got some tough competition in that modified class, so I'll tell you what, because some of the heavy hitters were not there.
Yeah.
Sportsman Billy, every time the winner has shown up, he's won 3 straight.
Oh, you got Paul written down for this one.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we'll let Paul do this one here.
Dylan Sellner, the winner of the 2020 Tim Meyer Memorial Race, got by Mark Chalet on the outside on the 4th lap, and he started pulling away. Dan Fry tried to make things interesting, got around Chalet for second in the old Tyler Sutter ride, but Fry just couldn't catch up to Sellner. In fact, it's a Minnesota 1-2-3 finish with Sellner, Jeremy Wolf, and Keith Paulsrud coming home 1-2-3.
Minnesota drivers were all over the place Friday night at Tomah. How about Nick Oxborough?
Definitely in the hobby stocks, Oxborough would slice his way through the field to take the lead on lap 8. And then he would get together with Hobby Fest champ Andy Moore. Not Adam Moore. They would make contact. They would spin out. Right place, right time. Mike Krieger Jr. would power his way to the first feature win of the season. He'd get to ring that bell in victory lane.
That was a good sporty race, too. And some of the favorites we thought were kind of tailing behind hobby stocks. That was a fantastic race as well. We're going to see some multi-time winners this year, I can guarantee you there. And the Hornets, so man, this was a good one, too. As the top 5 or 6 are battling each other, Mason Morphy's got a new ride this year. He's got the yellow ride. It's not red. He jumps to the Matt Moore outside line and just starts passing people like there was no tomorrow. And we'll talk about Matt Moore doing that here when we talk about the 6-shooters here in a minute. Brian Wallace, Zach Oliver had a 3-way fight for second place as Morphy ended up checking out of that one, and he crosses the finish line first. He'll take his first feature win of the year. Matt Moore making headlines again and passing up the fireball.
Oh, yes. Joshua Zacharias held the lead for quite a while in the race, but, of course, with Matt Moore, no lead is safe.
Passed 6 cars down the backstrom from turn 2 to turn 3. He passed 6 cars running the outside rail.
And he ends up with Dustin McCracken chasing him, but Matt held on to claim the victory in the 6-shooter feature.
Good number of 6-shooters, too. That was a very entertaining race to call, and more importantly, even a better race to watch. I had a new division come out to Tomah Sparta Speedway, a division that I would like to see Bill run in, not necessarily with women, but in a van.
Yeah, they got the minivans, and they put the moms in it, so they call it soccer moms. They put them in minivans. And Tomah's Karina Hellickson would jump out to a lead, look like she was going to drive away with this bad boy, but along comes Brittany Buchanan. Them two would battle. Buchanan would finally get around Hellickson with 4 laps to go and drive off to the first ever Soccer Moms feature victory.
Hellickson, the almost married partner of Matt Moore, takes her tutelage from him. He gets the van forward, kind of sets it up. She did look like she was going to take off with this one, but she got a little bit too high in turn 1 and 2. I think she got a little bit antsy and maybe celebrated a little bit early, and Buchanan just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was a good race, though. But we got 3 or 4 more appearances by the Soccer Moms this year, so coming out on Friday nights at Tomah.
Championships can't be won on the first night, but they can be lost.
Yeah, and Karina's going to find that one out, even though she also ran a van a couple years ago at the Crosse Speedway. It was about maybe 2 or 3 years ago, one night that Matt Moore had her come out in a bigger van than what she was in there. Well, we've got a lot more coming up on the program. Again, check out TomahSpartaSpeedway.com. You can also find them on Facebook. The entire schedule's on there. And something that Rick Porter and the staff do is it's either Tuesday or Wednesday nights. Rick, our TV guy at Tomah Sparta, he tapes the entire races from front to back, qualifying all the way through. Does a great job, top quality. The clips you see here on the program come from Rick. So check out Tomah Sparta Speedway on Facebook and find out when they replay the entire races. You can do it from the friendly confines of your camper or your house. Also, CrossSpeedway.com. They had qualifying again with quite a lot of people watching on KQEG TV's Facebook.
That's awesome. And we get messages every now and then from friends watching in like Florida, Shorty watching in Florida, or Or
Alaska?
Alaska. We got friends watching in Alaska too.
Even though Tim was actually here.
He
this
was actually
weekend.
helping Matt Henderson. I saw that.
Coming up in the program, we have 6 more interviews from the La Crosse Interstate Fairgrounds Speedway Banquet that was held here a couple of weeks ago. We're going to talk to some champions. We're going to talk to some first-timers and those that had best appearing cars.
I have a request.
Quickly.
There's so many errors in here. He needs to go under the table. That's his punishment.
Yeah, there is. I need the red pen next time we get ready for the show. So we're going to hide him. Bill's got some interviews. I'll be doing all this coming up next on KQEG TV.
Would you like a job making people happy? Well, I believe we can help you out. Big Boar Barbecue and Catering has openings for both full and part-time work. Days, nights, or weekends. Need to be free on weekends or need to be done by the time the kids get out of school? We can work with that. We need hard-working, energetic people who love to make people happy because our food makes everybody happy. Join the team at Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16, West Salem. Now that's a mouthful.
Big Boar Barbecue.
American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is built to a higher standard, so you can focus on the problems in your life that really actually matter. Like figuring out which remote turns the TV on, or the smell in the vegetable crisper that in no way can be vegetables, or finding your phone when you leave it on vibrate. Whatever you're worrying about, it won't be this. American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, built to a higher standard.
Welcome back, 7 Rivers Racing, KQEG TV. Of course, still early in the season, but it's good to have La Crosse and Tomah Sparta Speedway highlights back on the program. We sat back and did a couple more interviews during our makeshift La Crosse Speedway Banquet a couple of weekends ago. After they were on stage with Chuck Deary and I, we sent them over to Mary for a picture. Then we sent them over to Bill Niles for a quick interview about, well, what we were just talking about on stage. First off, best appearing car last year in the High School Racing Association. She just graduated high school, too. We had a chance to talk with Kelsey Clements.
All right, thank you, Dan Diker. Back here at the Champions Banquet with Kelsey Clements. Stopped by to talk to us for a couple of minutes. 4th place last year. Great year, though, for you. A lot of learning going on.
Yes, it was. It was my first year, so it was definitely a lot of learning, and I'm hoping that I can evolve into better this year.
So, talk about it. I asked you this on our TV show a few weeks ago. People starting to realize there's a race car driver in the high school now?
Yeah.
Yeah? Getting a lot of recognition for it, I would hope.
At school, I wouldn't say so much, but for like my family and my friends out of school, yeah, there's definitely a lot of proud moments for me.
She will be back again this year representing Holman High School. 4th place, Kelsey Clements in the high school division. Back to the studio.
While keeping the same tone with the High School Racing Association, Ashton Kinsey was the champion last year, came out of nowhere to really blow away the field in several of his races. Matter of fact, not only was he the Crosse Speedway HSRA champ, he was the state HSRA champ, and he had a chance to quietly talk to Billy Niles.
Thanks, Dan. Back here at the Champions Banquet with the High School Racing Association champion, Ashton Kinsey. Dude, what a great year you had. Lots of battles there, especially with that Bird kid coming down in the end. Talk about your season a little bit.
Well, from the start, we definitely struggled a little bit, but it's what happens when you first start out.
Yep.
But it was after about the second night when it really picked up, and we just kind of took off from there.
You're looking for bigger things this year. I understand you switched allegiances right in your own city from one school to another this year.
Yeah.
So is it going to be a purple car? You got to be representing the Hilltoppers.
Oh, it's going to be purple, that's for sure.
Same car, or we got something new in the bag?
Same car.
Same car. Okay, so talk about some of the sponsors who helped you out in 2020 and get to this championship.
We had Defiant Motorsports. We had Absolute Comfort.
Heating and air conditioning.
Heating and air conditioning. And then Frenchville Trailers. Yeah.
Talk about this big guy right here and how much help he was last year.
He's the one who does all the work on the car.
All right, he's going to be shooting for another track championship in 2021. That's your High School Racing Association champion, Ashton Kinsey. Back to the studio.
Nice job, Ashton Kinsey. John Huebner, who we had in the program earlier this year with his buddy Rob Stanfield. We had him on a couple of times at the La Crosse Banquet. First one was his talk about the minivan championship.
Thank you, Dan. We're back here at the Champions Banquet. Minivan champion John Huebner, and You know, that van had a lot of experience on the track before you got a hold of it last year, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Robert ran it 2 years in a row, and then he handed it off to me to run, see if we could do it. And we didn't know if it was the van or if it was the driver, and we figured out it was the van.
It was the van?
It
Okay.
was the van.
So you had a heck of a point battle with Dave True Jr. last year, and man, that was fun all the way down to the wire to the last week.
Oh, yeah. It was a blast. It was fun running door-to-door with him, running door-to-door with any of the guys that were out there. I'd race with them anytime, any day.
All right, so talk about what's happening in the stables this year, because I see there's a bunch of vehicle shuffling within you and Stansfield this year.
Well, I'm running Hornets in street stocks, and I'm possibly running 6-shooters this year. And then Robert's running minivans, street stocks, and 6-shooters. And then he's got his son this year running high school division and his brother running hobby stocks.
Just out of curiosity, you got to have a building about this big to house all those vehicles, man.
Yeah, that's why we store them out here right now.
All right, before we cut you loose, talk about your 2020 sponsors that guide you to the championship.
Well, I want to thank Crazy Dave's Auto for sponsoring my van and helping me out through the year, and that was pretty much the only sponsor I had on there on the van. So.
And he will be back here in another segment. He's got another championship to pick up. He'll be the novelty champion. So we'll check up with him in a little bit. Back to you in the studio.
And as we're talking about John Huebner, well, we may as well keep it right here. He was also the 2020 novelty champ.
Back at the Champions Banquet, and John Huebner is back with us again after he just picked up his championship in the novelty division. Explain to people who've never been to lacrosse what goes on with the novelty. How does that entail?
Well, the novelty is like oddball races, kind of like the cone race, where you put a cone on the car and see how long you can last, going as many laps as you can, and being in the lead. And then there's the flagpole race, where you do donuts in the middle of the track, and and they have all sorts of different ones. Third over the line, and you can mess a car up playing with these games, but
that third over the line, it used to be second over the line, now it's third over the line. That came, even more strategy plays out with that race.
Oh, huge strategy. You got to slow down and wait for everyone else to catch up. You're not trying to race anyone, honestly, so you just got to hope no one hits you in the back end and pushes you over.
Now, during the season, and of course, it's about a 15-week season, how many novelty events did they have last year? Because I think there was one darn near every week.
Yeah, there was pretty much one.
How many did you win last year?
I only won one.
You only won one?
Yeah, one.
Oh, Matt Kenseth right here, folks. Now, that throughout the season, you had two different vehicles. You had the minivan and you had I think it was it a Hornet or the street stock?
I had a Hornet and a street stock.
Did you run them both in the novelty?
Yes, actually, I ran all three of them in the novelty.
All three of them? Holy
all
cow.
three of them. Yep,
nice.
'cause they had Hornet novelties, they had street stock novelties, and then they had minivan novelties. So.
Okay, and they add up points out of all of them, and you're the grand champion.
Exactly.
That is phenomenal. So you're going to be back to defend your title this year, or you're just going to concentrate on the track championship?
Oh, no, I'm going for novelty champion again.
He is our 2020 novelty champion, John Huebner. We'll have more interviews in a little bit. Back to the studio.
Next up was the best appearing lacrosse late model. That went to Justin Mullikin, though I think his late model this year looks better than last year. I like the red and black that he has. And he had a chance to talk to Bill Niles.
Thank you, Dan. We're back here at the Champions Banquet with late model driver Justin Mullikin, best appearing 2020 car, Justin Mullikin. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I know you put a lot of pride in the way your cars look, and man, they look spectacular. I've already seen this year's car. They look great.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in it. Typically, I'll draw out like 3 or 4 designs and then just pick which looks best.
Let's talk about your 2020 season. Didn't start out that great, but man, you came on like a house of fire towards the end of the year.
Yeah, once we got some things figured out, things got a lot better, which is great because it kind of gave me something to build off of this year, changing everything in the car. So
nothing, I got to tell you, and I know how bad I felt for you that last race, and you had to just be sick half a lap away from that first ever feature win.
It's happened before in late models twice, so I'm kind of used to it, but we'll see how this year goes.
Big things happening this year. Talk about some of the sponsors that are going to get you through 2021.
Well, a lot of our sponsors have come back. Can't do it without features in West Salem, Moxie's, Architectural Metal Specialists, Those are kind of the big ones. So many people help us out, and it's all very appreciated.
One more quick question before we cut you loose here. Mandy Eckelberg stepping up to that Jonathan late model. How much mentoring you got ahead of you? She looked pretty good last year in a few runs, but what's it look like for her in the 2021 season?
She's been out there long enough. I don't know that she really needs any advice from me, but we're looking forward to it.
All right, best appearing car for 2020, Justin Mullikin. He's going to be one to watch out for this year. Back to you in the studio.
Nice job, Justin Mullikin. We had Billy Mohn on the radio show last year, and we also had him on the TV show just briefly during Oktoberfest with Kevin Ramsel and I. And we had a chance to stop him to find out if he's going to run full-time at lacrosse this year.
Thank you, Dan. We're standing here with a Minnesota driver who made lacrosse his home last year. The familiar number 8 in the white car, Billy Mohn. And Billy, what went into the decision to come to lacrosse and race every week last year?
It was a big part of it was just hanging out with all the people down here, and it was so much fun to come down. And probably, like I told the guys this winter, it's probably one of the most fun years we've had racing in quite some time. And it was very welcoming, and it was a pretty fun year.
Tell you, I was watching you last year, and it took you about maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and then you were right there in the top 5 every week. It seemed like the adjustment wasn't that big for you.
It took a little bit, maybe where we wanted to be to start off, but we got better and better, and I think everyone was chasing Mergic all year. He was hands down the best car, but no, it was fun, and definitely looking forward to this year.
Towards the end of the year, you got faster, winning some dashes. You actually finally won a feature towards the end of the year. That had to feel good.
Yeah, it feels good. It seems like I can always get close. I can just never close it out, so it was good to close it out and end the regular season, you could say, here on a good note.
So are we going to see Billy Mohn here every Saturday night in the 2021 season?
I don't think we ever go into any year with a plan. We'll be here the first few weeks for sure, and we'll go from there and see what life is thrown at us at that point, and go from there.
All right, before we cut you loose, talk about the partners that helped you in 2020 get through the season.
The biggest thing is everyone that comes and helps us, and everyone pays their own way, and that's pretty cool. And they stick with us thick and thin, and so that's what keeps us going.
Looking forward to seeing him hopefully here every Saturday night in the 2021 season. That's Billy Mohn.
So Billy Niles, busy banquet, busy Friday night, busy Saturday night, and we are going to go after it again on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Weather looks like it's going to be partly cloudy in 88, and I would expect another huge field of late models.
Oh, most definitely. It's twin 20-lap features, and you're going to see the likes of Gady and Mergic and Mohn and a bunch of other Minnesota guys. Michael Hager, who's looking pretty sharp this year. Going to be a full stack field again. We had 29 cars last week. Expect at least 25 to 30 this week.
And we know one of those that's going to be running for national championship is Jacob Gady. He already has 2 NASCAR late model races under his belt. He went down to Madison and raced last weekend, then came up and hit lacrosse. Now he's going to have a chance at 2 double 20s, so he's going to be ahead of the field when you talk about NASCAR points.
Yeah, if he hits Madison again, that's 3 features next week, so he's really going to be ahead.
All right, we're going to pull Penguin from out under the table and get him ready to do some radio this weekend as well. Hope you had a good time last weekend on lacrosse and Tomah. When we come back next weekend, we're going to have more highlights for you from both lacrosse, Tomah, and many more. For Paul Reichert, Billy Doc Niles, and Radio Man Dan Dyker, thanks for joining us on 7 Rivers Racing.
You've been watching 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV with Dan the Voice Dyker, Billy Doc Niles, and Paul the Statman Reichert. Brought to you by Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Big Boar Barbecue, now that's a mouthful. By Carey Heating and Air Conditioning, your residential specialist, serving the La Crosse area since 1929. Carey Heating and Air Conditioning. Thanks for watching 7 Rivers Racing on KQEG TV.
Would you like a job making people happy? Well, I believe we can help you out. Big Boar Barbecue and Catering has openings for both full and part-time work. Days, nights, or weekends. Need to be free on weekends or need to be done by the time the kids get out of school? We can work with that. We need hard-working, energetic people who love to make people happy because our food makes everybody happy. Join the team at Big Boar Barbecue, Highway 16 West Salem. Now that's a mouthful.
Big Boar Barbecue.